Antonietta, thank you. The surprise team of the year just keeps looking better and better. The Rams have now won 5 of their last 6 after yesterday's win over the Saints, a major win. Ryan Clark in the house. Good to see you.
Hey, Molly, how you doing?
Excellent. Max, I want to start with you on this one because when we've had this conversation, who's the biggest threat to the Eagles in the NFC, both you and Ryan have talked about Drew Brees and the Saints in a playoff scenario just based on their quarterback. But do you think it's time to take the Rams more seriously?
Yes, however, I also all year have been talking about the Rams as ascendant, and I picked them to win this game. So, Stephen A., you told me last week that when it comes to boxing, you ask me, and when it comes to basketball, I ask you. You might want to add football to asking me on the asking me list. I told you about the Rams. The Rams, because of Jeff Fisher, your nemesis, Stephen A.,
you've been wrong about in the last 3 weeks.
When you were
go
going
ahead.
at Jeff Fisher. What? Who said what? Huh?
Hey, y'all so funny,
I said I can
man.
count 5 things you've been wrong about in the last 2 weeks alone, but go ahead.
Ridiculous. Anyway, the Rams, because they've been so terrible, have been stockpiling talent. We know the defense. If you ever played daily fantasy, you know the Rams defense will get you some points. They have a lot of talent on the defense. It turns out the move for Goff wasn't so bad after all. He needed the right people around him. Not only the blindside protection, but also the right kind of young, dynamic coach and a friendly environment for a quarterback to operate. He has a receiving core. He has a great running back. Now he has an offensive line. He has the coach. The offense is excellent. That's 2 sides of the ball, by the way. I mean, they are really, really good. They're loaded with talent, and they're ascending. And furthermore, you know, every team has bad weeks, bad games. When was the last time, I'm not talking about a loss, you can lose a game, like, you know, you lose a game to the Vikings on the road, a great defensive team on the road, it's going to happen. When was the last time you saw the Rams play a really bad game, just get dominated, where you're like, boy, that's a bad performance? They really don't have them. This is an excellent and ascending team, and the only reason I would favor the Saints in a playoff situation is that even though Drew Brees has not been the same this year, let's be honest, he hasn't been. You know, the automatic thing is always Drew Brees at home. Not so much anymore, but he's got a defense and a running game, and under pressure in the moment of truth, I still believe in Drew Brees in a playoff atmosphere. But there are questions about the Rams, but they are ascending. They are excellent. They are loaded with talent, coaching, everything, and they're consistently excellent, maybe more than any other team other than the Eagles in the NFC right now.
Nobody denied the fact that they were ascending. The question was whether or not they've arrived. At least in the past, that was the question, and I don't feel that way. I still don't feel that way. Yeah, yesterday they looked really good. I give them a lot of credit, and Jared Goff is continuing to impress me. But I also saw him in the pocket taking pictures, calling his family, ordering dinner, and all of this other stuff, because New Orleans, in my opinion, wasn't getting nearly as much pressure on him as they should have. I'd like to see him under duress. When I saw Minnesota, who obviously is an elite defense in the NFL, get all up in him, I saw a different quarterback. I'm wondering, is that same quarterback going to be that guy that shows up against Philadelphia? I saw similarities to that quarterback when they lost to Seattle earlier this season. So those are the question marks. I have no question about their talent. I have no question about their coaching either, because anything is an upgrade from Jeff Fisher. Let's just call it what it is. Talk about a man that's been ruined in terms of his head coaching aspirations for the future. That has gone out the window, because when you see the ocean, the divide as wide as the ocean between what McVay is doing and what this guy Fisher did last year, it's night and day. The Rams are a team that's formidable. They're a team to be reckoned with, but I think this was more about the Saints to me, because other than that 74-yard run by Kamara, they weren't able to do much with their ground game. This is against a Los Angeles Rams team that's 27th against the run. And obviously they weren't able to do some stuff on offense overall. So I just look at them and I just say to myself, it was more of me being reminded that there are still questions about the New Orleans Saints, particularly on the defensive side of the ball as well, than it was about the Rams arriving. But they are ascending. I'm going to give them their props. But I'm holding out on them because I'm still not sold on Jared Goff yet.
I mean, I think it all depends on what we're saying the Rams are. Is it a team that should be taken seriously? It is. It's a team that can score points on the offensive side of the ball. It's a team that has a great return game in the special teams, both punt return and kick return. And it's a defense that has been opportunistic When you look at, if you're just going to take yesterday as the barometer of how we're measuring them, though, you have to kind of take it and sit back and look at what the Saints have. You're missing 2 starting corners. Okafor goes down, who is one of the rushers. This was a team who was kind of playing behind the 8 ball from a personnel standpoint. Jared Goff did what you should do when a team is down 2 corners. He pushed the ball down the field. He found creases. He found openings. The thing I did like about the Rams down the stretch was their defensive backs made plays on the football. Drew Brees had opportunities. Drew Brees had open receivers that he either missed short or he made the wrong read. And when he did that, the Los Angeles Rams secondary came up with the plays they needed to finish the play. You look at Kayvon Webster, the tackle on Michael Thomas down the stretch. It's a one-on-one situation against a number 1 receiver. You stop him on the 3-yard line and dump him. That was a huge play. They were able to make the plays they're supposed to make. You hear Max talk about a playoff situation and having Drew Brees. I still take him over Jared Goff. I don't think this team, as constructed, the Rams, contends for an NFC championship this year, but they are ascending and they are on the way. We should have taken them seriously a long time ago, but watching this performance doesn't, to me, put them over the Philadelphia Eagles in the playoff situation. It doesn't take this team and they don't beat Minnesota on the road in a playoff situation. But this is a good team, and this is a team that will be good in the future as well.
Yeah, I agree, but it was hard to take them seriously when you thought about the stench that Jeff Fisher caused. I mean, let's just be real about it here. It was hard. Even though you saw the individual talent, you wondered whether or not the contaminating effect that he had on this team, with the residue from it, would last a little bit longer. You know, props to them that it hasn't. But, I mean, I'm not going to knock anybody. I mean, I laughed at callers that talked to me about the Rams at the beginning of the season because I thought that they were still so demoralized over the Jeff Fisher regime. I thought it would take them about 2 years to recover.
Stephen A., we fell victim to reality TV. Because this is why great performers and different people, they don't go on TV and give you interviews. They don't let you know who they are as a person. Because we got to see Jared Goff, and Hard Knocks made Jared Goff look like he had no clue. And then when Jeff Fisher trotted him out there without teaching him, without bringing him along, we just fell farther into the mindset that this guy didn't have what it took upstairs to do this job. But if you've watched the film this year, if you've looked at every game and watched this man pass the ball down the field, also seen the checks he's made at the line, and I believe Sean McVay gets him to the line early enough to continue talking to Jared Goff for the 15 seconds he has to give him the best opportunity to succeed.
But question, Ryan.
Go ahead.
Question, because I don't think that's fair on your part, and I'll say it like this. You know football. You're a champion. You played on the defensive side of the ball. Don't give me this year's film because we get it based on what we're seeing. Last year, based on what you saw, what did you think around Jared Goff before the season began?
I thought he was terrible.
Well, that's all I'm saying.
But we're talking about this year. He's shown you enough before yesterday to take this guy seriously, to understand that this offense with Todd Gurley, with Jared Goff, under Sean McVay is going to be difficult to stop.
So much of it is the guy's situation. I remember on the Players Tribune, Hainsworth had an item, had a column about a story about his own situation, talking to his younger self. Hey, put yourself in the right situation. When you think about Carson Wentz, who went 2nd overall, and Philadelphia traded up to get him, and I think Wentz is the best young quarterback. I'm not saying Goff is as good as Wentz. But when you think about him, he came into a situation that was extremely quarterback friendly. All his coaches were former quarterbacks. And you look at Goff, he came to Jeff Fisher. What is Fisher's reputation with quarterbacks, right?
Never developed one.
And that's the way it played out. And look what happened when McVay came in. Not just that he's a young, dynamic guy. He's like, let's get him some blindside protection, signed Whitworth, traded for Sammy Watkins. I mean, the idea is it's not just going to be handing the ball to Gurley and they can stack the box, and that's the end of that, you know? The first thing is let's get him some blindside protection. Let's get him a receiver. Let's do the things that help a young quarterback. And he's been showing all year he's a good young quarterback, and he's getting better.
All right, one last quick question, Max.
He's really good, no
So
doubt.
if you had the Saints and Rams in the playoffs, are you now going Rams?
Nope.
All right. Rams scoring nearly 30 points per game and outscoring opponents by 11 points per game.
Ryan, Drew Brees the same guy?
In the
Drew
NFL.
Brees getting a little, you squint, you can see some gray hairs there, no?
Hey, he got a couple of gray hairs, but he's still the same guy that he's always been right now, this year, today.
All right, Ryan, you'll be back with us in just a moment.
Yeah.
Appreciate you as always. When we come back, a little NBA. Derrick Rose, undecided about his future in the NBA. I will tell you why after the break. And Tom Brady doing things that no other 40-year-old quarterback has ever